Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio.
Like you say, you got the naysayers, it'll never be open. All of a sudden, bam.
The use of live scope in Easton Fothergill, a 22-year-old angler from Grand Rapids. SJR 500 Sturgeon Stash Contest.
So suck it, all you doubters.
Broadcasting on the Sporting Journal Radio Network, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch on YouTube.
Fish on right now.
Well, we're here at the 2024 Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. And our guest now is Jeremy Smith. I fish, I hunt, and always will.
It's just to look out for your everyday hunter, angler, and trapper that's out there.
A Fish Hunt Forever production. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Don't be a jerk on the internet. That's going to be a big theme of this week's show. Welcome to it. I'm Bret Amundsen, along with Dan Amundsen over there, and David Eckhart. What's up, fellas?
Hello. We have such good news today to share with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a couple of topics. Not just don't be a jerk on the internet. We're going to talk about Easton Fothergill, live scope, and just how people use social media these days. But we got a Rainy River update, and Kevin Heinrichs from the Royal Dutchman is going to join us. Actually, we got Joe Henry and Kevin both coming up later in the show. And for our radio listeners, we've got a shorter interview with both of them. If you're listening to the podcast, both of those interviews are going to go a little bit longer. So if you're listening to us on radio, make sure you download the podcast as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch this on the Sporting Journal Radio YouTube channel. Plus, Dan, I think my favorite Prairie Sportsman episode is coming up this weekend.
Is that your cue for me to play the promo, or do we want to talk about it first?
Yeah, not yet. This is a little teaser.
Sure, gotcha. Understandable. All right.
So, and
nice.
We're going to talk about that. And the SJR 500, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500 is coming up April 8th and 9th. We're going to talk about some of the prizes that will be involved, including the new contest. We got to figure out how we're going to do the Sturgeon Stash contest. So, brand new car! We'll run through some of those ideas coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio, brought to you by
Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world. Plan a Lake of the Woods or Rainy River fishing trip at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. OnX Hunt. See private land boundaries, offline maps, and more. Take 20% off new membership code with the code SJR20. Haybale Heights Campground and Resort, Fish Devils Lake this summer. Learn more at haybaleheights.com. Tazen Lake Lodge. Catch world record lake trout and giant pike at Saskatchewan's Tazen Lake. Learn more at tazenlake.com. Prairie Sportsman new season is here. We've got a really cool episode this week that you can watch on the YouTube channel on Sunday. Guardian Eagle Resort. Plan a trip for next summer to the Ontario waters of Guardian Eagle Resort. Excuse me. You can fly directly from the Twin Cities. Learn more at guardianeagle.com and go to sportingjournalradio.com to enter our giveaway.
That's right.
Guardian Eagle trip.
We're giving away a trip for 2 to Guardian Eagle. You'll be able to jump on a plane in the Anoka County Airport in Blaine. You'll jump on one of their charter planes and fly directly to their lodge. We got to do it last year. If you want to see what it looks like, there is a video on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. Or if you go to the contest page at sportingjournalradio.com, we have the video. Excuse me.
Jeepers.
Linked there.
We're struggling here.
Too many goose sticks.
This is like a almost $10,000 prize, ladies and gentlemen. This is a trip for 2. It costs, I believe, $4,700 or so per person for this trip. So this is a big deal. So go sign up. All you have to do is sign up at sportingjournalradio.com. That's it. Very, very simple. So go do that right now.
Verify your email.
Yeah, and then verify your email. Absolutely. Let's do some headlines, hey?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Headlines. All right, so Eric Altena just posted this on Facebook while we were recording the show, actually.
This is going off the script. We don't know what this is about, David.
It's a House Bill 2824 has been introduced, and it will include a continuous season for largemouth bass and smallmouth bass in Minnesota. So your season dates for walleye, northern pike, that will all remain the same. But for largemouth bass and smallmouth bass, sunfish, white crappie, black crappie, yellow perch, channel catfish, rock bass, white bass, yellow bass, burbot, cisco, lake whitefish, common carp, and native rough-fish, the open season will be continuous. That's the bill anyway. It's not signed into law yet, but they're talking about making bass open year-round.
They're going to talk about that at the Minfish Summit going on Thursday. What about limits or seasons on redfish, bluefish, one fish, two fish?
I think that there's a companion bill in the Senate for that right now.
Oh, okay, good.
Perfect. We'll wait for that.
Nice Dr. Seuss reference.
Do you like that?
Yes.
That was nice.
Yeah,
Very
bet
nice.
you didn't know that I knew Dr. Seuss.
You need to see a doctor. I know that. I don't
You
know.
did yesterday.
I did. Yeah, that was one of the headlines, actually, that I had my colonoscopy this week. Thank you very much. It went great. The doctor said my colon was amazing.
Your colon?
Or something. Yeah, I came out like, they put you under for it now. And as I came out of it, I was kind of groggy. I'm like, how's my colon looking? My colon. And they're like, it's the best. It's the best colon we've ever seen.
Best ever.
It was huge. It was beautiful.
It was huge?
It's
You have a huge colon?
best one we've ever. All right, let's move on from that.
All right.
Alrighty, brand new Prairie Sportsman coming out Sunday night on Pioneer PBS. It is going to be hands down my favorite episode of the season, and it features some old dogs. Coming up on the next Prairie Sportsman, we'll learn about some old veteran bird dogs. What do you think, Meeks? And take them on what might be their final hunt. I love it. Then we learn about Wings North, a hunting club near Pine City that gives people a chance to learn more about the outdoors.
You can do a little bit of everything out here.
Plus, Nicole Zempel tracks down an old mushroom.
They're kind of scruffy, shaggy looking.
So watch that Sunday night at 7:30 on Pioneer PBS, or watch for it after that on a PBS station near you, or just go to the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel, that Old Dogs episode. Dan, you were there. Corey Loeffler, Ben Bredigan, Jason Markula, and myself, we all had our old dogs. It was cold and windy, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. And I'd recommend watching it by yourself because the room's going to get a little dusty. So, but it's going to be a good one. All right. And this isn't really breaking news, but Easton Fothergill wins Bassmaster Classic. How cool is that?
22 years old, biggest weight ever recorded at a Bassmaster Classic. Pulled it out. It was honestly like it was scripted in a way. The way he only had 4 fish on the last day, kind of basically last minute, and he pulls an 8-pounder out to seal the deal. And pretty cool, pretty amazing. Congratulations to Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Nice to, as Gussie mentioned, he says, nice to see the Classic trophy going north again.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to break down this a little bit, so bear with me on this. And this leads me to the point of don't be a jerk on the internet, because there's been so much controversy that's come out about the use of live scope in Easton Fothergill, a 22-year-old angler from Grand Rapids, someone who overcame an infected abscess on his brain a couple of years ago to win the bass. I think it was 2 years ago or something.
A couple years ago, yeah, he was about to fish the college bracket, and he ended up in the hospital, needed a medical waiver to fish the bracket, won that, qualified for his first Classic, and then fished the Opens last year to qualify for the Classic and the Elites this year. So he's worked his tail off the last few years, and it actually started all in the SATT, Student Angler Tournament Trail, which was featured on last week's Prairie Sportsman.
All you're hearing from people right now is that he only won because of live scope and how live scope is a problem. If live scope was so great, why didn't the other 55 anglers that had one win that tournament? Easton not only won, but he set a new record. He won by 8.5 pounds. And when people say live scope is making young anglers win, remember that the youngest winner was actually Stanley Mitchell, a 21-year-old back in 1981. Did they have live scope in 1981? I can't remember.
No idea. David's on his phone.
The answer is no. I say I'm going to go off, and David just checks right out of the show.
I just cut to David, see what he's up to.
Gone.
He's just on his phone.
Just
All right.
checking things.
Right.
Speaking of blaming
you are.
tech on things.
Jeez.
Easton also used his smarts to win this tournament, switching baits, switching spots, and breaking off on a log 4 times trying to catch his winning bass. He found that bass using his tech, and then it was suspended next to a log. He got snagged on that log 4 times, and instead of trying to wiggle his jig free or going over there and breaking it out, he broke off knowing he might spook that fish if he tried anything else, and he finally hooked it. If you want to blame tech, let's talk about mapping. Let's talk about side scan. Blame 2D. Where do you draw the line? For people saying watching the fish live is cheating, tell me you haven't watched yourself try to jig up a fish on 2D. Or what about sight fishing? I guess if you're fishing shallow water and it's clear and you see a giant, you should just move along. Don't even try to catch it. What Easton did was completely legal, and the gear he used was available to all the competitors. Now think about this. Go back to when you were 22. Dan, can you remember back that far?
Sure can.
You fished hard, you practiced, you perfected all the available tools, and you reached the biggest stage of your life, the Super Bowl, and you win it. You're at the top of the mountain. Your phone starts vibrating. Messages are coming in. Some are congratulating you, and some you're seeing messages accusing you of cheating. Then the bashing starts. You didn't earn it. Think about how you would take that as a 22-year-old. The internet has turned the world into a bunch of jealous, hate-spewing trolls who think they have all the answers. Even if you disagree with someone, you don't have to be a jerk about it. I really want to use harsher language than the word jerk in all of this, but since we're still a radio show, I'm trying to be FCC compliant. The world progresses with civil dialogue. Name calling and finger pointing just make you look petty and causes the wheels to spin in the mud, and problems aren't solved. Instead, you should be congratulating Easton on his amazing accomplishment and then take up your issue with the governing body who sets the rules. If the majority of people want something, they'll usually change the regulations. The mob mentality of social media is ugly. Outdoors men and women are better than that. We're better than that. You can disagree without being disrespectful. It's okay to want different things in the outdoors, but you won't get them by acting like a 2-year-old. Live scopes, crossbows, trail cameras, and other tech in the outdoor world will always be up for debate, and that's okay. We all want successful hunting and fishing adventures. We also want gear that's going to help us be more successful, right? I mean, some of us have brands that we work with to promote that gear. There are ethics to consider. I had a discussion on Facebook with a guy the other day about crossbows. I was discussing, he was yelling. It boiled down to the fact that he didn't think it mattered how he killed his deer since he had a license. It shouldn't matter what I use to kill my deer. So I said, well, let's have a rifle season for 3.5 months. And then he just started yelling at me again. And I understand, I get it. Like, I kind of understand his point. I mean, I want to shoot a deer. Like, at some point, do we feel like we've gotten overregulated? Maybe. It's hard to say. But we have to have laws and regulations. If you go back to the 1920s and 1930s in Minnesota, the pre-DNR era, animals were getting wiped out. Most of it was by market hunting. A lot of market hunting was going on, and some hunters were just taking more than they needed. But what happened, this is great. What happened was hunters stepped up and said, we need conservation. We need rules and limits. And what came out of that is we created the greatest wildlife conservation model in the world. Does the DNR get it wrong sometimes? Of course. Have politics seeped into management? Of course. But without the laws, the limits, and the regulations, we would not have the outdoor opportunities that we have today. So remember that, and don't be a jerk on the internet. That's the end of my rant. David, you can come back
also
to the
just
show now.
Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Dan, did you say you said it was the highest bag for the Bassmaster Classic?
Yeah, he set a record.
Did you say how much it was? Because I looked it up.
75
70
pounds.
some pounds.
76 pounds, 15 ounces.
David was fact checking.
Yeah, see?
Let me see your search history on Instagram.
I don't know if you want to do
the Bassmaster website.
Yeah.
So
he won
19 months ago was when he was in the hospital. So
he won $300,000, got an additional $10,000 for being the highest placed entrant in the Toyota Bonus Bucks program. He got another $20,000 for being in the Yamaha Power Pay program. What an amazing accomplishment for a 22-year-old.
That is incredible.
Congratulations, Easton.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, it's so funny how all these anglers that it's always what anglers always tell you on TV shows and tournament anglers. The best anglers learn how to adapt to changing conditions and new gear and this and that. And all of a sudden it's, how dare these young guys who just learned live scope. Sorry, your failure to adapt has put you at the bottom of the pack and you're not winning. So
I thought of it too. Kevin brings it up later in the show, but he said there's 3 types of people when he's talking about live scope. And I don't exactly remember how he said it.
I can't believe you just told the future.
compared it to people that don't have it, that do have it, and people that don't
Understand
care.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're either way. So,
Well, there's a league that if you don't like forward-facing sonar, go watch that one, the NFPL.
Yeah.
But maybe nobody does because there's no names in it. Well, there's a few names in it, but
Well, there's a lot of people out there being idiots on the internet. There's a lot of people that are doing it just for clickbait to get views, and when in reality, just congratulate the kid for doing a great job, and then you can talk about the ethics and the regulations, but
he wasn't the only one that had live scope.
they all did.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't a Garmin, they had some other forward-facing sonar
Right.
from Humminbird or Lowrance or whatever. But all right, we got to take a quick break. Trophy lake trout, northern pike fishing in scenic northern Saskatchewan is available for you at Tasman Lake Lodge. We've got a brand new Tasman TV video on the Tasman Lake Lodge YouTube channel. Go there and check it out. TasmanLake.com has all the details for helping you get up for giant lake trout and giant northern pike at Tasman Lake Lodge. More Sporting Journal Radio when we come back. Sick of eating tag soup? It's time to own your odds this fall with OnX Hunt, the GPS hunting app trusted by millions of hunters. Now you'll have access to nationwide public and private land ownership information, waypoints, optimal win for each stand, tracks, and much more. All at your fingertips. Go to onxmaps.com/hunt and use code SJR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your membership. That's code SJR20. The fourth annual Wave Pro SJR 500 is coming up April 8th and 9th at Riverbend Resort on the Rainy River. I can't wait. We got brand new merch for this, you guys. We should show some of that stuff. And an official theme song that maybe
Bugs.
Dan...
You're asking a lot of me here. We should show merch. We should show this. We should play the song. I've got one mouse.
There it is. Look at those. Look at the brand new Sturgeon Stash logo, ladies and gentlemen. We got a prize update as well. And there might be some drink specials. We've got happy hour at Riverbend Resort, and we might have a drink special for you when you get up there as well, too. April 8th and 9th, and also a discount on lodging. If you contact Riverbend, whether by phone or online, use the code SJR500, and you will save money on a cabin at Riverbend Resort. Get a hold of them now because cabins are going fast, and now that we've got news about the Rainy River opening up, those are going to go real, real fast. That's so. I just love that song so much.
For that,
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. We got a couple other prizes to talk about. Mid-Migration Outfitters, our friend Tony Crotty has donated a 3-day waterfowl hunt for us to give away as part of the prize list at the tournament this year. And plus, we have some Mid-Migration Outfitter DRC Goose calls.
Goose calls. Yeah, I don't know if they even have a logo on them. Right? Well, they'll have a DRC call logo on them. I don't know, but they're DRC call DRC.
Easy for you.
Someone
to
else,
say.
David, you say it.
DRC call company.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So we'll be giving those away, and we're going to do prizes this year. We want everybody to register their sturgeon. Sturgeon. Well, walleyes too. Sturgeon fishing was so good last year. We wanted to try to get a baseline on how many sturgeon get caught during our tournament. So even if you catch a 20-incher, we want you to register it because we want to keep track of all those fish. And so to encourage that, we are going to be giving away random prizes for different placements. So we need to figure that out, but maybe like 12th place or something like that.
Yeah, maybe I'll just pull a number out of my hat.
There you go.
David can
Little
draw
random number generator.
Yeah. Should I do one right now?
Sure.
What if it's like,
630?
Yeah, we need to see.
Well, you got to set the parameters.
Well, what if we only have, I don't know. We'll figure it out later.
All right.
Cool conversation, Dan.
That could be
Good job.
Cool story,
at
bro.
the prize drawing. Maybe it gets generated right then. I don't know.
Right then and there, Monday night.
Yeah.
It
Monday
could
night
be.
number draw.
But I kind of feel like we should maybe set that number before people start registering so there's no look of
So Monday night, like Dan
variety.
said.
Oh, during the rules.
Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Well, David just said during the prize
I
giveaway.
did, but then Dan said Monday night.
I don't
David
listen-
misspoke.
I do not listen to Dan.
Yeah.
So
We
that's
know.
pretty clear. What's that?
He said we know.
Oh,
Way to
David.
fall for the bit, you ding dong.
Do you get it? It's funnier when you explain the joke.
All right, David, I do want to give you,
David.
before we get to the new projects, you had 2 new projects I want to bring up on the show this week. We should talk about the heavy hauler gearboxes real quick, too. I don't know if you have those pulled up. Probably
Yeah, I
not,
do.
Dan, but
Oh, wow, thanks.
I'm trying to help you out here.
I probably don't have it.
No, I didn't. I meant that as I was trying to buy you time. These things I think are really cool. They wrap around your pedestal mount for your seat in your boat, and they save you space. And we've got some large sizes and some medium sizes from Heavy Hauler Fishing Gear.
I can't go backwards in the pictures.
So-
There's a picture of it under the seat,
Oh, yeah, it's a slideshow.
but I can't get. I can go forward, but I can't. Hang on.
So if you're watching this on
One
the
of
YouTube
us.
channel, there you go. You can see what they look like right there. I think Jay Siemens did a video, had them in a video at one point. You've probably seen what we're talking about. Heavy Hauler makes them, heavyhauleroutdoorgear.com. They're one of the sponsors this year of the SJR 500. Thank you very much, Jason and Heavy Hauler. We're looking forward to having those as prizes this year at the SJR 500. David, you brought some more goose sticks this week.
I did.
Very good.
Some snow goose sticks.
And the flavors were jalapeno something, and then
Just jalapeno and cheese.
and some cheese in there.
Yeah.
So what kind? And high temp cheese? What flavor cheese was it?
Just cheddar.
Cheddar?
Yeah.
Yellow.
I was between pepper jack and cheddar, but I thought there's already enough spice.
Sure, they're good.
So, yeah, they were good.
The other one was Willie's plus C or something. I
With
didn't
cheese.
know. Willie. Oh, the C stands for cheese.
Yeah.
It was a sticker made by Lindsay.
They were.
What's Willie's? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It's just a generic. It's the seasoning company that I bought it from. That's what they called it. So
So Willie came up with that mixture. Is what
I'm
I'm saying.
guessing.
This is Willie's.
Yeah.
I don't know. He threw a bunch of stuff in a bag.
It's
Tastes pretty
like-
good.
I don't know. It's like an original.
Who are you
Nothing
impersonating?
spicy.
Willie.
Yeah.
Or Willie's buddy, I guess.
Yeah.
Willie's coworker.
Why does he talk like that?
I don't know. Where are they from? The South? Because
I don't know where they're from.
where they come from.
That's a southern accent?
Yeah,
Actually, I think
kinda.
they come out of Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, so Willie's,
Oh, Willie's,
seasoning.
yeah.
Then yeah, we drank some beer and sausages. I don't know what that is either. But you also came in with a gift
Brother, this guy stinks!
for me, which I appreciate. You made some skull hooker type.
Yeah, Euro.
We're in
You're
autofocus, so that's going to be back up. No, back it up. We're not, or a manual focus.
manual,
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I misspoke. Back it up further. There you go. They can't zoom on that one either.
So I immediately thought you're like your plow broke and some blades came off and.
Actually, this is a sickle off of a cutting edge for probably a bean head or like a hay cutter.
Okay.
So,
So you just ordered a bunch of those, or did you have them lying around?
nope, found one laying behind the shed that had the right rust and patina on it.
Oh,
and
cool.
some old rod, some old rusty potato chain from a beat lifter, and an old rusty pipe, and just kind of welded it all together.
Well, you know what we need to do is you need to start making stuff like that. We'll just throw it in our store because you're going to start selling those things.
Yeah.
'Cause that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Little
So-
fun project. I have a bunch of deer skulls that need to get put on the wall, and I'm like, you know what? I could order a bunch of China brand ones, or I could just take a bunch of scrap
China.
iron I have laying around and spend more and build them.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. All right. So we've got Kevin Heinrichs from the Royal Dutchman and Joe Henry coming up from Lake of the Woods. We got a bunch of Rainy River updates. And
Wow.
Talk about that. We haven't even gotten into the stash contest. We were supposed to, we're running out of time, but we're going to brainstorm ideas. We're going to do the Sturgeon stash contest at the SJR 500 this year. We'll have more of that with Kevin Heinrichs, the Royal Dutchman. So get ready to howl and chase dinosaurs on the Rainy River when we come back. Plus Joe Henry will talk. Well, the guys are still ice fishing up there at Lake of the Woods as well too. So all that
The river's open.
and more coming up on Sporting Journal Radio.
Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com.
All right, the SJR 500 is coming up April 8th and 9th. It's a Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be based out of Riverbend on the Rainy River. It is a great time. You don't have to stay at Riverbend. If you're going to be out fishing the Rainy River, you can join this contest because it's all hosted on the Fish Donkey Tournament, but we will be giving away a bunch of prizes. And this year we have something very exciting, something new. Ladies and gentlemen, something new and exciting. Come to the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500. The Sturgeon Stash Contest, and this was born out of a conversation between, Dan shaved the mustache. Joe really likes your mustache, Dan.
Gets kind of weird some weeks. In a way, it's kind of strange. Like, we sleep in separate rooms when we're on trips together.
But Kevin Heinrichs, Royal Dutchman, and Dan had a conversation, and mustaches came up on social media. So we decided to make it part of the contest this year. And looking at all the three of us, anyway, we all got the beards. And David, so it sounds like we got to convince David into shaving it into a mustache. I'm going to shave it into a mustache. I don't think I've ever had just a mustache. I've had this beard for a long time, so this is going to be interesting.
I think a good compromise for you, Bret. Have you ever heard of the monkey tail?
Oh my gosh.
It comes down one side and then wraps around into a mustache and then doesn't connect.
There's an MLB pitcher who
there we go.
Watch this. There's an MLB pitcher that
right there.
Oh,
the
yes.
monkey tail.
Yes.
I think you should rock a monkey tail.
Oh my
Bret.
gosh. I love it. I love it.
I woke up like that after a party one time.
Oh, man.
I don't remember where I was, though, and I saw your Facebook post, Kevin, this winter or last fall or something, but I about fell over laughing.
I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, when I saw your mustache, I about fell over. That was hilarious. Peter from Deadpool.
Yeah.
That's what I got told by my kids, but I mean, we'll take it.
I loved it.
Liked it.
There you go.
I got a bunch of clay going on right now that I'm going to mold into something real beautiful for the tournament. Don't worry about that.
Awesome. So we've been trying to figure out, well, first of all, before let's just touch on the Rainy River a little bit, because we're recording this on Wednesday, and it was today that you posted a video on social media of Cooch County out there with a backhoe clearing the Birchdale Access Open.
It was. I got to thank Kelvin Nelson. He's like the county attendant down there for sending me video of it. They did clear it. We will see how clear it ends up being, because there is a lot of ice out this year, and it may be stuck to the apron down there. So after I get done with this little conversation we're having now, I'm going to run back down there and see what it looks like. So we'll continue to be diligent on keeping you guys posted.
I will speak on behalf of all anglers of Minnesota and the surrounding region that we thank you for those reports, because I know how many people love to go up to the Rainy River in the spring. And now that we've got this contest now going for the last couple of years, everybody, like just Dan, you got a comment on the Sporting Journal Radio YouTube channel the other day.
So many people, right away after the show came out last week, they're like, well, I don't know, there's a lot of ice out there. You better hope the event even happens. I had a buddy who, to be fair, was fishing upriver of the resorts up along Wheeler's Point there last weekend, ice fishing. They had their pickup truck out there. She's like, man, I don't know, I'd be getting kind of nervous. I'm like, every year, you guys, every year, and we'll be just fine. And lo and behold, so suck it, all you doubters.
and like what we've seen the last couple of days, when it goes, it seems to go pretty fast, Kevin.
It does. It usually you don't see a lot of progress for a couple of days, and then you'll see a big swath of it come out, because that warm water gets under the ice, and it seems like it causes, the same way ice is made, that churning effect. You get, it's densest at 39 degrees, so you get that water that comes in, it starts pulling the water around, and it just eats the ice out from the bottom up, and you'll start to see this fatigue looking ice that all of a sudden will just be gone. Like yesterday when I was there, I took some pictures. It was spotty openness out in front of Birchdale and down through, and then this morning it's wide open a mile and a half or two to the west, and it looked like it was probably going to take another mile and a half or two here probably by tomorrow morning, I would guess.
I remember, I don't know if it was last year, probably the year before, when we were, what year was it, Dan?
I don't know what story you're telling, so I can't help you.
Well, I know, I'm finishing my, let me finish my thought.
It was last year.
I think I know what you're talking about.
When we were driving along the river trying to watch when the accesses were opening I can't either right before or during the tournament. And we were seeing, like at that rest stop, we saw some open water. We were seeing pockets of open water along the way. And is it like that this year? Are you seeing little pockets of some open water along the way there?
Yeah. So what you'll usually start to see is like grayish, brownish looking spots in the ice. And then you'll see some open water spots start to happen. And then you'll just see the whole channel will let loose or dissolve, I guess you'll say. Some years there's a lot of ice associated with it. So once the ice starts hitting itself, it's just like a battering ram churning around, which also helps with the churning because you get some real turbidness going, and that seems to eat it out even quicker at times.
So we're looking at, from right now, about 13 days to the tournament, first day of the tournament. What do you think the rest of the river, I know there's no way to predict it, of course, but if we were to look into the Royal Dutchman crystal ball, and you were going to try to say what from Birchdale to Wheeler's Point by April 8th, what in your estimation do you think it's going to look like?
Somewhere around Vetus, Clemenson area.
Told you.
Would be my guess.
Throw that out there.
Up to the front of the resort. I mean, like you said, it's the rainy. It does crazy. Excuse my language. Sorry. It does crazy things. So it likes to prove you wrong whenever it can. You think it's not going to open. Like you say, you got the naysayers. Oh, it'll never be open. All of a sudden, bam, day later, there you are. It's wide open. You can declare the landing open and bam, it'll completely freeze up again on you. And you're out there breaking ice. And like last year, that's the way it was. It opened like March 15th. And then we spent the next 3 years breaking through on average, 2 to 4 inches of ice on any given day of rebuild. So it's just, we hope for it to continuously keep staying open and making progress, because the more progress it makes, the more shore ice breaks free. When we get boats out there, like actual real boats, we got people pushing in and stuff we have for the last week and a half or so. Once we start getting some wake out there, that really starts to eat up, especially break the shore ice loose, which can be a real help in smashing into other ice and breaking other ice up and causing damage, like in the sense of damming and turbidness, and it helps to eat things out. So
it was wild. I remember, maybe this was last year too, there were guys ice fishing by Wheeler's Point when we got there.
2 years ago.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And by the last day of the tournament, I think we were
Thursday. So Wednesday we were in Baudette, like at the front of the ice by the bridge fishing on the Wednesday, and then Thursday morning when we woke up to go home, there was boats in front of the river bend.
Wide open. Well, I know in 1 year, the ice was in front of Wheeler's Point, and by the next day we were launching a boat there.
Last year, yeah.
I think that was last year.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was nice. It was so nice, and especially when we're staying up at Riverbend. It's nice not to have to drive all the way down.
I'm kind of excited to be fishing upriver again, though, because that's just such a pretty stretch of the river, and the fishing's dang good up there too. And that's just a cool.
Well, we kicked ourselves because
it's worth the drive.
Yeah,
we had so much fun up in the. We were fishing like up in 4 Mile up there, and we were all anchored up catching sturgeon. There's so many sturgeon stacked up in there. It was insane, and we had fun. But when all the guys that were still up at Birchdale were
hammering walleyes, yeah.
So it's like, God dang it! Which
thought about making I didn't want to pull the boat out, but we thought about making the 40-mile run.
Yeah,
would have been an adventure.
It's a nice run. I will say that. I mean, as far as it goes, a lot of times it's about 15 miles of the lake, 16 from the resort here. I'll do that run every once in a while, up and back, just to kind of get the best of both worlds for fishing, and then the scenery as you go along, because it's just nice casual cruise.
Yeah, we saw you up there. You rolled through 4 Mile a couple times while we were up there, and we're seeing the pontoon.
Yeah,
never know where I'll be.
Well, it was so good for us last year, and we did have I remember Jamie Dittman was fishing next to us, and he had his live scope pulled down, and I'm like, I had mine down. I'm like, are you seeing all these sturgeon? And he goes, I don't know. I don't have it on.
He just had it down to get out of the way of the boat.
And so obviously you don't need it, especially sturgeon fishing.
Well, I don't think you're going to go sharpshoot a sturgeon.
There were so many sturgeon rolling through up there. And, there were a couple of other pontoons and a couple other boats that boated over 50 sturgeon in the 2 days during the tournament last year. And this year we're going to try to give away prizes that step down, through the prize. So 25th place or whatever, we'll get a prize, whatever we come up with. And so we want to encourage people to register all their sturgeon this year because we want to get a count on it. And between all the walleyes that were getting caught upriver and all the sturgeon that were getting caught where we were, I really felt like last year was insane. I mean, obviously there's so many good years of fishing up on the Rainy River. But Kevin, and for our radio listeners, we might have to extend this conversation on the podcast. So we might have to lose you on the radio network, but we're going to continue with Kevin Heinrichs here on Sporting Journal Radio. Where would you rank last spring on the Rainy River? Sorry.
That's the Duchess making noise in the background.
That's all right. Like, where would you rank last spring on the Rainy?
I would rate it up there as it was all around one of the best seasons that we've had in the 5 years that we've been running the resort, for sure. I mean, the walleye fishing numbers were there and the size was there for fish, and then there it was sturgeon galore. I mean, it was a really good season last year.
It was so much fun. It's also proof that catch and release works, and man, that just the chance to catch not only your biggest walleye of your life, and even, Dan, I think you caught a 26 last year. Was that the picture you put up?
It was something like that.
But it was so fat. Like, it was just such a great fish. And then the chance to catch a sturgeon, like the biggest fish in the state. And even there's so many, I feel like there's so many 50-inch sturgeon in the river right now. And that's small by sturgeon standards when you think about the fish that you're catching up there. But you're catching I don't care what you're fishing for, a 50-inch fish is a big fish to catch. And they're so strong. It's so much fun up there right now, Kevin.
Right. A 50-inch fish, you'll pretty much feel the might and fight of about every size sturgeon out there. It's just the duration that it's gonna last for you. They have a heck of a power packed in them, and some of those chunky ones can be more of a fight than the mid-60 skinny fish can be that you end up with.
I see that so often. It's like the lake trout that we catch up in Saskatchewan. You'll catch like something in the upper 40 inches, and it's just like almost a world record size fish or whatever, and then you catch one that's a 43 and you think you have the world record on. But there's so much fun, and the sturgeon fishing is pretty simple when you think of it. And I mean, that's your jam up there, right? I mean, that's what you like to do. Yeah,
that's my.
It is my jam. Yeah. You are right. The tug is my drug. And as far as simplicity of it goes, I mean, you talk about all this technology that fishermen have at their side, and for the last 4 years, I mean, I've guided without so much as a fish finder on my boat even. I did get one. We'll see if it makes it through the spring here or not. The transducers can be a bit of a bugger. But I got sick of looking at my phone for the lake map all the time. So I bought something that I can see the GPS a little bit better.
So are you going to be guiding it all? Like you're going to be in the tournament this year, right?
So actually, there's two lucky guys that have no idea that they're going to be in the tournament either. But I decided I'm going to pay their registration fees so that we can all three participate. I got to update them on the whole mustache thing. Buy one or grow one, whatever they got to do. But we need some stashes going, that's for sure. So it'll be exciting. Usually I register for the tournament. I buy, but a lot of times I am guiding and. I don't. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
I think it's something along that lines. That actually started as a handlebar just to begin with, and got ex-nayed by my wife and everybody else. So it just kind of grew into Peter at that point. And we're gonna have something along those lines going on, but most often I register. The other people in the boat aren't, and those are the ones that put their hands on the rod. So this year I decided, you know what? we're going to include the registration in the price of the trip here.
There you go.
There you go.
See what happens.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you being a part of it.
And thanks for all the reports again. I know we all appreciate that. I know can be a lot of work to go up and down the river like that. So we all anxiously await and appreciate it.
The nice thing about the SJR tournament, like you said, is it's on Fish Donkey. It is only a 2-day tournament, but it's not one of those tournaments where if you're not doing good, you want to shoot yourself in the boat. I see it like the Rainy River Walleye tournament that happens up here. If they're having a bad day, oh my guys that I've guided in boats before and be like, that's why I'm not in tournaments right there.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. He looks like he wants to jump in the water right now. He hates his life and he's out fishing, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, right. I didn't want it to be a pressure-filled event. I wanted it to be fun. That's one of the reasons why. I mean, the prizes are good prizes, but I don't want this huge, $10,000 prize bag or anything like that. I want it to be something that you're going to feel good if you win it, but not so big that you're going to want to cheat or, jump in the river if you're not doing well.
Throw your rods. We're having fun, Dan.
Don't make it all about the mustache and the fishing.
No, it's all about the mustache.
It's the mustache.
Forget the fishing.
Dan joked. I can't remember if we did it on air or off air, but Dan joked that it's just going to be a mustache tournament in a couple of years.
if it's on air, it's going to be weird because we just foretold the future.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Break down the fourth wall.
We'll have a mustache contest and then we'll go fishing. I mean, what's wrong with that? Yeah. That sounds even better.
Well, the whole thing started as a celebration anyways, so that's what we should keep it every year. A whole family reunion celebration, fishing trip, good old time.
It's so much fun. It's definitely one of my favorite things we do out of the year.
Might have to make it longer at some point.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to bring up. It is kind of a celebration. The spring rainy fishing is usually one of celebration. It's liberating to be back on the water again and then to be able to be doing it under such excellent circumstances as the Rainy can provide. Like you said, opportunities are endless. I've seen everything from lake trout, muskie, whitefish, walleye, sturgeon.
Look at that.
Them guys right there. The
Rainy
red horse
River Gold. Rainy River Gold.
I've always said, as far as red horses go, we have the next state record in these waters. I've caught some giants.
Yeah, that was a big fish.
Yeah.
I mean, like that one year we caught a bunch of little burbot, which I thought was interesting. But other than that, I mean, you have the chance to catch your personal best pretty much on anything swimming in that river.
I heard that in a song about this tournament once.
We didn't even play the song. Have you heard the song yet, Kevin? We should play it for him.
The SJR song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I my wife was asking me the other night, who's that? That's a new one that they made up for the tournament. It's Sports Channel Radio.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I wrote the lyrics and then I told AI, okay, I want a rock song. I want it like this. This is how I kind of want it to sound. And then it just made it. And it's amazing to me. I love it. But I had to make Revar sound kind of funny. And that was the only way to make it rhyme and tell AI, this is how I want it to sound. But other than that, I think it's awesome. But I'm a little biased. But
I thought it was a good song myself, too.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we should give you a plug if people want to jump in the pontoon with you and
worship.
And do some fishing for sturgeon on the Rainy River this year. How do they reach you, Kevin?
You can get me at
There it
the
is.
number on my shirt. You can go fishing with the Dutchman. You can message us on Facebook, Royal Dutchman Resort. You can email us.
Yeah, don't worry
It'll
about
be on the website.
There you
I don't know the email address.
That's all right. We should mention this too before we go. Is we got new merch this year. So this is last year's. So we had some hoodies for it last year. And Dan, did you see all the pictures I put in the folder over there?
Sure didn't. Did not. No.
So we got a new logo for this year's tournament, and I there it is, the Sturgeon Stash. So we've got
That's going to be on the sweatshirt then?
That'll be on the hoodies. That'll be on we got tumblers. We got coffee mugs. We actually have mason jars that we put the logo on. And I think, let me see if I've heard back from Paul yet. I think our plan is we're going to have a limited supply, but we're going to have some of those tumblers. They're 22-ounce tumblers with that logo on it. We're going to be selling some at Riverbend, and I believe we're going to have a drink special with it. So
Perfect.
If you get that, you'll be able to fill it out. I think we're working that out right now.
Order one now, so you don't have to worry about the limited supply. Just order one now, get it, and then bring it up.
That's right.
Right.
You can find those at sportingjournalradio.com. Click on store. We got the hoodies there. And also, like the hat that Dan's wearing, we got that for sale. Those are the new Fish on Forever hats that we're selling in our store. So anyway, new Sporting Journal Radio merch for the SJR 500, the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500, brought to you by Relevant, Heavy Hauler, Onyx, and we're donating 25% to Keep It Clean again, once again this year. That's the old poster, by the way.
Yeah, I did a bad show prep today. Okay.
That's all right.
Passively aggressively tell me that all show. I'll admit it.
You can see all of that and more on the SJR 500 page at sportingjournalradio.com. Kevin Heinrichs, the Royal Dutchman. We'll see you up there in a couple of weeks. Thanks again for the reports, and thanks for the time today on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, boys. We look forward to seeing you.
If you want to catch a big walleye, go where the big walleyes are. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world, with a variety of resorts and lodging facilities offering full-service fishing. Lake of the Woods is also home to sturgeon, sauger, perch, trophy pike, muskie, smallmouth bass, burbot, and more. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods today. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. All right, Joe Henry joins us now from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, obviously, we just had the Royal Dutchman on. Kevin talked about the Rainy River and Birchdale. But the more important thing we need to talk about, Joe Henry, is the SJR 500 Sturgeon Stash Contest. It's the inaugural Sturgeon Stash Contest. There it is, the beloved sturgeon with a mustache in the new SJR 500, the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500 graphic that you can see on the screen if you're watching this. Joe, we're trying to come up with the best way to have the Sturgeon Stash Contest. So we've talked about a couple of things, whether we have the crowd vote for the best one during the podcast while we're up there, or if we have people take, like hero shots with their fish that they enter into the contest. If they have a mustache, so they get entered in prizes. I don't know. So we thought we'd open with you, and if you have any ideas for the best Sturgeon Stash Contest during the SJR 500 this year. If you have any
Why
ideas.
are you opening with me? I don't have a mustache, and it would if you want me to be in a mustache contest, Brett, you got to let me know a couple years ahead of time.
Well, you're the only one who has experience being in a contest with shaving, and you always tell that story about your time with the Gillette contest. Do you have any contacts at Gillette that we could get to sponsor this thing, or what?
Yeah, I was down at spring break, of course, and they had a contest for the smoothest shave. So they pick a real good-looking gal out of the audience, usually in a bikini. And she'd come around, and she was blindfolded, and I was one of 5 contestants, I think, and they'd feel your cheeks for the smoothest shave. She came around and felt my cheeks. She went to everybody else. She came back and felt mine again. Oh, my God, if I didn't win a nice Gillette prize package. Of course, I didn't tell her I didn't shave that day.
Joe, I'm pretty sure there's a party store not too far from you, and you could just go buy a big fake one.
Yeah.
David, what kind of party stores do you go to?
Fake ones are allowed.
Yeah.
I'm allowing it.
Now, the question I have is, I don't think that a person should have to catch a fish in order to enter for the mustache contest. I think it'd be fun to make it so that if you want to enter that contest, you could decide whether you have to be participating in the tournament and pay your $40, because imagine the extra crowd that would come just to show off their mustaches. I mean, we might have people coming from across the nation to show off their mustaches. Then you're going to have to figure out what makes a good mustache. Is it those kind you put wax on and twist them up on the end, or is it a kind of just real full and they go down? Do you have to have that full beard to get extra points for the full beard, or you want just a stash?
No, you can't have a beard.
Just the stash.
No beard. So that's what I've been trying to figure out. And David, are you going to do it?
No.
Fired. Bye, David.
Wow.
You're fired.
See ya.
I could maybe trim it down and just leave a longer mustache. No, I haven't seen bare cheeks
uninvited.
in 10 years.
Neither have I.
How do you think I felt about it? I did it, and I look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty attached to my beard yet.
Oh, get over it.
Yeah.
It comes back.
I can't compete with Dan.
This is not about you, David.
I can't compete with Dan.
Oh, come on. Don't try to kiss my
Well, nobody compete with Dan. He should be like one of the judges, because we talk about his mustache. What I want to know is, when you guys came up with this idea from the Dutchman,
we were
he kind of brought it up, I think. Did you start using extra kind of wax or conditioners or Miracle Grow or anything like that in your mustache? You just natural.
Yeah, I went to Home Depot and picked up some fertilizer.
Lawn grade fertilizer.
Yeah, laid down and just just shoved my head in the bag.
Stuff, Danny, and I tell you what, it seems to be working really well. I mean, your mustache is probably, fuller than I've ever seen it.
All natural.
That is a question though. Do we, because I'm going to do it. Do I go all the way down here? I don't think I could do one of these. I'm not. It isn't.
You got to try and cover both lips.
Oh, like the firefighter that's going around.
Yep.
Yeah. They tried to do they did a nice memorial for the guy, and he just has, I think he wins. He might be the honorary winner.
That was a very impressive.
I wonder if I can find that picture.
Very impressive.
Talk amongst yourselves. Talk about the Rainy River being
let's
open.
do that, because we've talked about mustaches way too much on the show right now. So stay tuned to see what we come up with for the Sturgeon Stash contest.
Well, I'll tell you, as far as the Rainy River goes, obviously we got some very good news.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to Kevin, of course, for doing some of those updates. And we've been watching it every day, and we're recording this midday on Wednesday this week. And we were starting to get excited on Monday. He started to show stuff east of Birchdale. And then on Tuesday, all of a sudden, it was like, well, there's some stuff at Birchdale. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday, the county is there breaking open the access and people are fishing. So great news. Every year, though, Joe, every year people panic.
Oh, did you see how?
There it is. I had to find it. Little later, I had to find that.
That is,
I love it.
A paintbrush right there.
I don't think I could grow that fast by the tournament.
I don't know how he ate.
That was my question.
You imagine, like, when he talks, does it go?
Yeah.
As he's
I feel
talking?
like you could wax that to the sides, but then you could also just comb it straight down.
That's sick.
That's awesome. Anyways, now I just derailed the show again. Yeah. I'm good at that.
A mustache topic is kind of near and dear to some of your folks' hearts here.
Oh, yeah.
Next year, it won't even be a fishing tournament. It's just going to be a gathering.
Danny, when people start nicknaming you, about your mustache, I mean, I can understand how you take it to heart. I'd be proud of it too.
Well, absolutely. You got to be.
Oh, man, that's a good mustache. I know your mom's real proud of it. She likes it.
Oh, well, I don't know. She might not come. This is happening. She's not a fan of the mud. Well, if my dad says, oh, boy.
Talk about the Rainy River, boy, did that open up fast, didn't it? I mean, it was, you saw a little bit of dark ice, and pretty soon there's a little bit of water showing, and all of a sudden, boom, it's freaking open, and the counties. And by the way, kudos and thank you to Cooch County as well for getting down there and popping that access open. Really what that does, it makes it so that not only boats can get in there, obviously, in the boat ramp, but it also makes it safer, because there are some people that would try to put their boat trailers on that rotten ice and push their boats over, and this just makes it safer for everybody too. So kudos to Cooch County and everybody else that's involved in this. Brett, we talk about it. We have a spring fishing meeting every year, and my goodness, Cooch and Lake of the Woods County, the sheriffs and the county themselves and the maintenance department, DNR enforcement, DNR fisheries, Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources, Ontario Provincial Police. I mean, we have so many stakeholders that get involved. And really what a lot of this is about is, hey, how can we keep people safe? When you're going on Highway 11, people are cruising at 60, 65, and all of a sudden you have a boat ramp where there's a lot of traffic putting up warning signs that, hey, caution, event ahead, slow down, be aware. Be careful when you're turning into the access, of oncoming traffic. Be cognizant of where you park. There's no parking signs up. And I remember the one year, some people, there's like 4 guys, and there's no parking signs to a right-of-way that a landowner had. And they parked right in front, and they said, just give us a ticket. We don't have to walk so far. We'll just take the ticket and divide it by 4. Well, that's not very nice, So we ask people just to do your best to make it safe and to follow the rules. And, you can imagine those landowners there get inundated every spring, and just to be polite,
I've always wondered how that works. Do some of the guys that work for the county, are they just anglers anxious to be able to drop their boat in? Or is the county responsible for opening up those accesses, or is it a courtesy? How did that
I think it's a courtesy thing. I think that they understand that, this is tradition, but they also understand, that this is important to our economy up there. This is a time when there's nothing going on up there. And, depending upon what kind of business you have, whether it's a resort, a bait shop, a hardware store, a grocery store, you go on and on, right? But the economy right now needs that kind of business. It's very important.
Well, I'm excited for it. You know, every year with the SJR 500 coming up April 8th and 9th, the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500, it's always an access watch for us. And some years it's cutting her close. Some years it opens up early, and I'm excited for this news. Obviously, selfishly, but the area is obviously going to get an increase in anglers up there, and I'm looking forward to that. And we should mention that there are still guys. I mean, most of the ice fishing is wrapping up there, but there are still some guys catching pike, Joe.
Oh, there's some huge pike being caught out. In that. Primarily Zipple Bay, Long Point, Arneson's Rocky Point, that neck of the woods primarily. And there's still a little bit of fishing going up at Sunset Lodge too. However, there is some open water up at Sunset Lodge in a couple different areas, specifically that $1 Million Rock Mergens Point. So you're going to want to, if you're going to go to the Northwest Eagle, contact Sunset Lodge and make sure that they're leading you out. But there's some very good fishing happening up there yet too. And they're going to go to the end of March here. In fact, some of the pike fishing might actually end up going into April.
Well, yeah, gosh, you know, what a great, I don't want to call it a bonus fish up there. You think about Lake of the Woods as a walleye destination and now sturgeon, but those are some pretty nice northern pike that they're catching right there. Man. All right. Well, I had a thought, and then I just got sidetracked looking at those.
One thing I'll mention, too, while you collect your thoughts is, did you see a post from one of our guides up at Lake of the Woods, Jason Grohl? Jason Grohl had, he knows the area. He's a local and good. He's a good guide up there, but he actually pushed his boat over the ice, and he whacked, I think he's holding a 32.5-inch walleye. Just a freaking big. So he got rewarded for getting out there early and pushing over some ice upstream, I guess. And but it's just a monster walleye. You got to see that picture. Holy man. That's awesome. All right. Well, make plans to go fishing. Be safe up there, of course. Please be safe if you're going to be up there and do some fishing. The water obviously is still very cold. Joe, what I wanted to talk to you about is the Minfish Summit that is taking place. And by the time this air, it's taking place right now as the show is out. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this podcast on Thursday, it's taking place right now. We got to film for Prairie Sportsman this week, so we're not going to be able to make it up there. I'm disappointed. I wanted to go. I know I've just been getting asked by a bunch of people today if we're going to be up there, and we're not. But it's a pretty. There's a couple of pretty important topics being discussed there, and we got to go to the podcast portion, but I want to ask you a little bit about some of the topics on the summit, because I think we ran out of time last week, if I remember correctly. But for our radio listeners, go download the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can stream it at sportingjournalradio.com or watch this on YouTube. But thanks for listening to this station right here. All right, Joe, Minfish Summit, you're going to that? I am, yep. All right. I think this is a great event every year. I fully support Minfish. I think it's a great organization. I really like the direction it's been going the last couple of years. And I think this summit is a great idea. I had a couple of people asking me, is this a chance just to go and sit around and listen to people talk? Do you get to actually talk to the DNR a little bit and discuss some of these things? And I told them it's a little bit of everything. There's going to be some speakers, some presentations, and depending on how busy things get, there's usually some Q&As and a chance to, I feel like we've always been able to sit and talk to some of the DNR personnel or some of the biologists and things like that. So what are the big topics this year at the summit? Yeah, and I'll just mention, too, I'm on the board of directors for Minfish. And, Minfish, the purpose of Minfish is to create more quality sport fishing opportunities in the state of Minnesota. Last year, Minfish was instrumental in getting about $110 million allocated towards fishing in Minnesota. Everything's from our dilapidated fish hatcheries to upgrading boat ramps that are dilapidated or needed to be upgraded for 20-foot boats, shore fishing opportunities, and more. So what's on the agenda? And by the way, this isn't a DNR thing. This is a Minfish event. And the DNR and some of the top brass for the DNR, most specifically Brad Parsons, is going to be there and talking about some of the topics moving forward. A couple of topics you asked about. One of them is the DNR's efforts to potentially go from a 6-fish walleye limit statewide to a 4-fish walleye limit statewide. Another one would be forward-facing sonar when it comes to muskie fishing. Another topic is our pike. we got a lot of lakes that have a ton of little hammer handles in. We're trying, some of the limits, like in the north central area, of having a 10 pike limit per day, was hopefully trying to curb that. How is that going? The problem is you have all these hammer handle pike, and you stock walleyes into a lake, and what do you think happens to those walleyes with all those little pike?
They get eaten.
They get eaten, and it doesn't work real well. Talking about bait, and there's only 2 states in the nation that don't allow live bait to come over its borders, and that's Minnesota and Maine. And we've had some problems with certain areas of the state not being able to get bait this winter even. Well, for a bait dealer, that's big time. You got a good winter finally after having a couple of tough winters, and now you're out of bait, so you can't make any money selling bait, and people don't come to your bait store, and on and on and on. So, of course, DNR is worried about aquatic invasive species entering our state through bait. So there's just a lot of topics to discuss, and a lot of schools of thought, on really all the topics.
Well, say hi to everybody there. Sorry we couldn't make it. I hope it goes well. I think it's important. I think it's good. And I'm glad to see it continue year after year. I think this is the 3rd year that it's been done, if I remember correctly.
I think so. And, the thing of it is, too, Bret, is that, at least we're communicating, right? Like in the event of bait in the past, up until Mint Fish got involved, the bait dealers were not communicating with the DNR. That communication wasn't happening, and now at least there's communication. So they're talking about, as a bait dealer, hey, if you close off a wildlife management area where I'm getting minnows, now I can't go in there to get minnows. That cuts off my bait supply. Just a myriad of topics that are being discussed, right? But at least we're discussing them, and certainly there's going to be different schools of thought. It's interesting too. We kid around about it, but it's so true about human nature. Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? And
do they carry our show?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
So.
Just
if not,
check. We'll get on that.
Do you know somebody there?
But people are looking at these topics from a variety of different lenses based on where they are and what they do, and a lot of things, right? So there's a lot of different perspectives, and really, when it's all said and done, in fact, Mint Fish, I don't think, is even taking a stand on a lot of these topics. At least like the 6 to 4 walleye limit and stuff like that. I think that when there's different opposing views on things, Mint Fish is really about making sure that we facilitate the conversations, making sure that we do everything we can that's not controversial to create more quality sport fishing. So at least conversations are happening, communication's going on.
And that's the way it needs to happen. And as we talked about earlier in the show, Joe, is a big theme of this week's show is don't be a jerk on the internet. And when controversies like this, fishing limits, live scope, crossbows, whatever the case may be, all these keyboard warriors come out and just, you're wrong, you're an idiot, your mom's ugly, whatever. It's just full of insults, and nothing productive comes out of it. But when you actually get in a room and have people that make decisions along with stakeholders and those that are interested in preserving traditions or enacting change, that's where the real work gets done. And I've said this a million times, the fact that Mint Fish got a lobbyist to me is one of the greatest ideas that's ever come out, because you have to, once you have a consensus on what say the anglers in Minnesota want, and there's always going to be people that disagree. But when you get a majority of people that want to enact some change, you have to go to the legislature and get it done, or at least get the game managers at the DNR involved to the point where, okay, this is what the majority of people want, we can make this change. And it has to be done. People arguing with you on Facebook is not the way it gets done. Summits, gatherings, maybe they're even the round table, that's where things like this actually can make a difference.
I agree with you. Yeah. And, plus this is where the topics come to light. In the past, the DNR might be there might be an effort going on. Maybe it's written about in the media, but how do people really understand about it? You talk about the whole social media thing. Geez Louise. I mean, I had a Facebook post up. It was a Facebook ad for Lake of the Woods Tourism of a young lady holding up a big pike inside of a fish house. And I cannot tell you how many people said it's either AI or it's Photoshop, because no way a woman could hold up a 20 plus pound pike with one arm the way she was holding it. And, I finally got frustrated and just said, this is not AI and this is not Photoshop. We've never done that. And of course, people are calling BS and liar, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And it can get pretty cruel. And I think some of that you just have to ignore. 3 years ago, our ice fishing on Lake of the Woods, Bret, was just okay, and it wasn't great. The last 2 ice fishing years have been lights out, but just really super good. And, 3 years ago, people said the lake's fished out. They said wheelhouses are killing it, charters are killing it, resorts are killing it, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, the next 2 years in a row, we got 15 to 19-inch walleyes showing up like they're going out of style. They didn't grow overnight. Yeah. So it's just another point where it's hard to take some of that stuff, and unfortunately, it's a sign of the time, don't you?
Imagine if they did. How great would it be if 19-inch walleyes grew overnight?
Listen, I can't believe how people have their name on these posts, and they can be so rude. I don't understand it.
Some of them don't. Then some of them are literally troll accounts or bots or whatever. But yeah, the people that do have their name and feel like you're an idiot, and then think that nobody is going to see their name on there or realize that you look like an idiot by doing something like that. I don't know. The internet makes people dumb, and I don't know why. I don't. We've talked about this before, but Stephen Covey talks about seek first to understand and then be understood. And whenever we wake up, and I don't want to get deep on this, but whenever we wake up in the morning, we all put our own pair of sunglasses on that we see the world with, and our pair of sunglasses is made up of our gender, our family order, where we grew up, whether we've been abused, and about 10,000 other things. And as a human being, we all think our pair of sunglasses is the right pair. There are a lot of different kind of pair of sunglasses out there, and I think it would behoove us in many, many ways just to take a deep breath and to try to understand somebody's perspective and why they're coming from where they're coming from. It's not all whacked out.
These are pretty sweet sunglasses I've got on. These are from Relevant.
Mustache.
Yeah, right? These are new frames from Relevant here, and I've got screen view in these things so I can still see the screen. These are kind of nifty. I'd get these sunglasses. If you want to put on a pair of sunglasses in the morning, these are the ones right here.
Well, and if you want to win a pair of sunglasses like these, come to the SJR 500, April 8th and 9th, Riverbend Resort on the Rainy River, the 4th annual Wave Pro SJR 500, brought to you by Relevant, heavy hauler fishing gear, Onyx, and we're going to have a bunch of prizes from other guys as well, too. So find out more information about that at sportingjournalradio.com. And Joe, if people want to plan a trip...
Hold on a second. David, where's David? David... I bring up something philosophical, kind of deep about perspectives. These two guys, they get serious. They both put on their promotion-relevant sunglasses and take shameless plugs for Relevant, and they didn't even talk about philosophy or going deep. And they're serious as all get out. Now, David, you're a little bit deeper than that, aren't you?
Yes.
Joe, we can't compete with your philosophy.
Are you, David?
No.
So, David's not even going to shave into a mustache.
David doesn't have a pair of sunglasses.
Because he's not going to get a mustache.
That's right. Yep. Mustache only. I'll talk to Relevant. Everybody that shows up with a mustache, free pair of sunglasses.
Oh, there we go.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
That's the case. I heard they're pretty good sunglasses. I'm gonna start growing one.
There you go, Joe. All right, Joe. If people want to plan a trip to Lake of the Woods, what should they do?
Check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.